Hello, everyone. This is XB Walker. I am here making the very first of our strategy videos, starting with the Antietam map set. With me today are Nitro and TJ. Nitro here, if you want to introduce yourself, followed by TJ, and I'll come in last here.
Hey, I am Nitro, Major Nitro of the French Battery in MB. Yeah,
Thank you
pretty much what I
much.
do.
Yep. TJ, go ahead.
Hello, I am TJ. I am captain of D Company in Hampton's Legion.
Excellent. And I am XB Walker, also known as Lieutenant XB Walker of the 3rd U.S. Infantry. So we're giving everyone here different perspectives on the battle. We've got everyone here has played Union plenty and played CSA plenty. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you all basic strategies for every single map in the Antietam set. Today we're going to start with Eastwood's Skirmish, which is the very first map in the map set for Antietam. So starting from the most basic strategy, the most common one that I see the Union make in most games, we'll do what we call the left fence strategy, for lack of a cooler term, which is basically the entire team full sends to their left, which if you're looking at the screen is your right, and runs down the fence up until the top of the hill where the two crooked fences meet. This basic strategy is one of the more common ones because the real fight is going to be this hill right here. Whoever occupies this hill has a huge advantage over the enemy because they have elevation and they can look down and fire down on the enemy. Do you guys have any notes you want to add to this particular strategy?
Pretty straightforward. It's pretty straightforward plan from Union.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the
Can't
most
really add
basic
much.
ones.
Yeah, I mean, what I'd like to add is that there is, in favor of the Union, a tiny slight defilade down here. So CSA cannot just line up anywhere here and shoot down. You might be able to see it, this slope-ish thing. So pushing yourself down here and then being able to entrench and send people up whilst your flags are unharassed, if you manage to kick out everybody here, that's the key for the Union that they want to achieve here.
Yep, and I'll make sure that post-edit, through the magic of editing, we will be showing that angle on the actual War Rights game. Okay, so moving on to the next strategy, let's see, TJ, could you go ahead and draw me one of the more common CSA strategies on this map, and we'll discuss.
For Eastwood Skirmish, the standard setup, right? As you said earlier, the Union only has two ways that you have to keep in mind as a CSA. Two realistic ways, that is. First one is this, right? As you drew up. The other one is the far left-hand push. So to be able to at least hold both to a point, you set one regiment up here, like a little bit off center, so they can easily shift. You set one regiment up here, nicely in the back, so that you don't offer too much a target for the artillery, and the majority, good 50+% of the line, I personally like to have exactly here, right? Because that means in any given case, you're able to shift half your team either left or right at any given point. And if it's a full send of the Union, either here or here, 75% of your team will be enough for either the far right to reinforce the left or vice versa.
Yep.
So basically, you give yourself as much time and punching power to mirror the enemy push as possible with this setup.
So this setup here is mostly focused around mobility.
And if you want to get a little bit more into detail, the Union has an advantage and a disadvantage. They get 42s on their top, and of course the Sharps rifles on the bottom regiment. But that means they only have 3 flags. So these long runways here gonna be a problem if those flags fall. The CSA gets the 42s for bottom regiment and Enfields for top, as well as for bottom. But that's your choice, really. So personally, have the buck and ball regiments be left and right, so they deliver the biggest blow to any charge that's incoming until reinforcements arrive from the center. And if they do,
sorry, keep going.
oh, and if they do, my go-to is if you're the furthest left, or maybe one of the center regiments, and the Union is still incoming into the charge, you can actually get to the fence, but that has to be really well timed. Otherwise, you
Hit
just
him on the
take a
side,
charge
yeah.
that fence.
Yeah, and that's generally good advice on any map is put your buck and ball regiments, your 1842 regiments, where they're going to be engaging at a short distance, because that buck and ball isn't going to be much use past 50 yards. I mean, it's still useful, but not as useful as a rifled bullet generally. So you want to make sure that your short range guys are where they can be the most effective. And that includes in the corn, that includes on the fence to the right. So moving to another, so let's talk mid game. The strategies we're looking at right here are pretty much early game. You're going to try and hold that. You're going to try and hold that right side as much as possible. Your right, Union left, or you're going to want to be able to shift into the corn in case the Union moves to your left, which is the Union right. But let's say typically games won't stay in these areas the entire game. Usually, in a professional match at least, the Union will eventually take this hill unless you've got a really great group of Confederates who just won't be broken. But this down here is a crapshoot. Sometimes it's Union, sometimes it's Confederate. So let's say we're in mid-game now. In mid-game, a strategy that I have usually seen is the Union forming an L on this fence. Now, this formation is pretty common. It does invite a lot of casualties because, of course, you've got the Confederates hiding out right here in the corn oftentimes. You've also got them moving straight up the road with partial cover. Partial cover meaning forest in this area and some of the hard cover over here. And so to occupy this corner, it's a good strategic position, but it will cost your team, if you're on the Union, it will cost you quite a few casualties. But it does make it so that you're defending forward rather than defending back. Do you guys have any other notes? What about mid-game for the Confederates?
Let's say, first of all, this position for Union is not good and not bad. Why I'm saying this is because they have 42s. Their biggest two companies have only 42s, so they won't shoot anywhere past 30 yards with a buck and ball. So that's where when the CSA can set up further, if they don't cap the point, by the way, because mid game sometimes if the Union gets there to that L shape, they like to cap the point. If the CSA is not set up somewhere around, I'm gonna do this. If they're not set up around here, they usually like to do this. Sometimes they like to hide in that corn. Let's say they hide here, right? Because sometimes if the Union doesn't have this secured, they might go here and shoot them on the side, right? So if the Union doesn't cap the point, they're going to be pretty much at a disadvantage because the CSA has infield, better rifles. So it's an iffy exchange.
So would you both agree with me that this, I'm as we go through the maps, by the way, I'm going to call out maps that are generally agreed to be fair between both teams, maps that are harder for one team or the other, but this one, I believe, in my opinion, is one of the more fair maps. Like, it's very easy to win either side if you have good commanders.
Yes and no.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah,
I want to hear your opinion. Let's get some spicy opinions.
Okay.
Let's go, DJ.
I mean, the Union can have an easy time pushing the right, as you said, can go either way. The left is a horrible slugfest. Usually, even if the Union succeeds, because of the three flags disadvantage, they just get pushed out. Because when the CSA counter charges, they're just done for. As you said, this L shape, it depends really on your state. If you have a morale stage down, you sit on this fence, you're probably going to be far more than half a morale stage down by the last 10 minutes. Just remove this stuff.
So you're saying if the Union is occupying that L shape, it's a good spot, but it's also going to cost them a lot of tickets.
It's
not
50-50. It's not great.
So my personal opinion, when you play Union, right? Why do you make it more complicated for yourself if you want to make a shootout? Secure that hill.
Mm-hmm.
Be happy.
Yeah.
Additionally, what the CSA does when I want to counter this little maneuver, what I do, just gather everybody up around here, and then from there, you full send one singular point, and you will wipe all of this Union. Because if they're stretched out along this fence, it's long ass fence, and the sharps usually stay up on this hill so as to not have the CSA countercharge from down here. Which is the thing that you can't do if the Union does exactly not protect the hill, right? That is a possibility. But concentration of force on this little tiny point, and again, you still have about half your team equipped with buck and ball. They will shoot them out. They will get the advantage because, again, 3 flags, 3/4 of the respawn the CSA has, and quite the walk. Yes, artillery is a thing, and artillery can be a deciding factor here, but generally, this is inviting to get pushed out by the CSA. Same, by the way, if you only have the Union occupy this position, then you would do roughly the same, and you'd have to keep going along the fence. But that will be much more costly for the CSA because Union has a longer run-up. The CSA is not hidden by the corn. You'll get spotted earlier, more time to react, more time to counter the push.
Yeah.
Especially with the sharps firing in from the hill.
So would your opinion be CSA heavy or USA heavy? Which does this map favor more?
It's USA heavy, in my opinion.
It's a slight advantage for the Union, but
Interesting. Okay.
you can actually go either way, right?
I think it's very
It's one of the
dependent
things-
on the artillery on this map, especially if you have really good artillery, and the Union does hold this corner here. That artillery can shred Confederates that come after them from the corn. So it depends on the Confederates and on the artillery.
It can most certainly throw off any kind of counter charges. Like this
You gotta
is
be
also it's also really nice canister range actually. If you load double canister and the CSA sits on the snake fence, that is inviting trouble.
Got it.
You
Okay.
gotta be quick. As a nerdy guy, you gotta be quick. You gotta be quick on the trigger.
So I'm
Because
showing.
if the CSA doesn't stop, sorry.
No, go for
If the
it.
CSA doesn't stop here, if they don't stop here, and they go right away, you really have to aim before. You know what I'm saying?
So the
It's
CSA has to
hard.
be fairly mobile on this map due to the
Yes.
artillery.
As someone that played already on this map, you can't really see much on the left side. You know, you have pre-aim spots maybe somewhere in that forest, but you can see flags. That's it. You don't see the people going through it. So if you want to canister that, you gotta guess it.
Got it.
Pretty
Got
much.
it.
But yeah,
Okay, so those are, I think, the most basic strategies for the map. And to anyone watching this saying, "Oh no, but I know another strategy," yes, of course you do. There's a million strategies, and the battlefield will shift fluidly. You know, the enemy might go heavy on this side, so you have to shift your team to deal with that. Or, as TJ was saying here, and I have seen this strategy, and I tend to employ this strategy more than others, is use the Union Sharps rifles to your advantage. Don't get them close to the enemy. Keep them at a distance up on the hill and be sniping down on the Confederates. And keep your 1842s close to this fence so that when the Confederates do move on you, then you can use your short range advantage. But again, all those strategies will work if your enemy isn't quick enough to respond. A lot of these matches come down to how well do the teams coordinate and how quickly can they respond to how the battlefield shifts.
it's especially with this map, the deciding factor is if CSA can go counter a right push for CSA or a left push. It's all gonna depend on that because if you want to win on this map, it's either you hold the line, this middle line. If you don't hold this on any point, left, middle, or right, you might more than 80% of the time lose the game. It's my experience. I've lost. If you lose that, the whole line right here, you lose the game pretty much. It's CSA, in my opinion.
Yeah,
There's
so
also-
CSA has to aggressively defend on this one. They can't sit back.
No.
There's also generally there's two ways of how to win a war fight. Technically there's three, but the third one after the ticket changes the devs made, the defender tickets and attacker tickets and bigger server sizes is far more rare, right? First one, you win by time when the attacker runs out of time, or you win by tickets and then putting the attacker into final push, giving you the time advantage. And of course you can flip the match if the attacker caps and you put him into last stand, but very rarely these days. Eastwood Skirmish, because of all this close quarters combat that will ensue on either of these sides, the longer it stretches, the less the CSA can play for time and has to play for tickets. What that means is when I would command CSA, I want to have a ticket advantage that in the end game, in the last 5 to 10 minutes, allows me to have so many tickets over the Union that I can sit approximately here, maybe here, and most certainly here, and face tank whatever the Union throws at me in the last 10 minutes without going into last stand, or just shy of going into last stand, just shy of the clock running out.
Yep.
So that is the idea behind all of this.
Thank you everyone for watching our very first episode of War Ride Strategy. I look forward to the next one, and again, thank you to TJ and Nitro for helping me with this recording and giving me the Confederate perspective on basic strategy for the very first map of the Antietam set. So until next time, thank you for watching.